Dawn Blouch. I'm here as a Republican committee person. Myself and Bill Doherty had sent out a letter to Republican committee members asking them to sign on. And I'd just like to read it to you and the names that signed on. So, I need my glasses. This is addressed to Commissioner Ames and Phillips as they are the Republican commissioners. As members of the Lebanon County Republican Committee, we are writing today to express our strong opposition to the proposed 18% property tax increase you both voted in favor of publicly displaying at your December 2nd Commissioners meeting. Since its inception, the Republican Party has stood for fiscal discipline and lower taxes to promote economic opportunity. This founding principle has stood atop our great party's platform for the days of President Abraham Lincoln to President Donald Trump. It cannot be ignored that the tax increase you are currently considering would significantly magnified by the massive 32% tax hike you passed on Christmas Eve in 2016, thereby totaling a staggering 56% increase over the past 5 years should it pass. Over that same period, Lebanon County seniors living on a fixed income have seen only a 13% increase in their Social Security payments. Sadly, many of our greatest generation will be taxed out of their homes should this increase come to fruition. At a time when Americans are struggling to cope with stifling inflation across the board due to overspending by President Biden and Democrats in Washington, D.C., it is simply unconscionable for our Republican County Commissioners to consider a double-digit property tax increase in Lebanon County. In fact, it was the 40th President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan, who stated, "Simple fairness dictates that government must not raise taxes on families struggling to pay their bills." We respectfully ask that you explore every possible alternative to raising taxes again during this difficult time. Lebanon County has received tens of millions of dollars in federal coronavirus relief funding. Perhaps a better use of that money would be to balance the general fund budget rather than financing expensive new multi-million-dollar projects. Indeed, our neighbors in Dauphin County have not seen a tax increase for over 15 years, thanks to the fiscal stewardship of their Republican County Commissioners, proving there is a responsible way forward. We greatly appreciate your consideration of this critical request and look forward to your next Commissioners meeting on December 23rd. Thank you for your service to the people of Lebanon County. Sincerely, myself, William Doherty, who wanted to be here today and was unable to, Jennifer Albright, Christopher Barry, Kermit Bell, Marion Blindstein, Shane Gingrich, Charles Greenewald, Jan Griffey, Stephanie Grumbine, Tucker Hall, Linda Jackson, Richard Bleistein, Bonnie Bleistein, Richard Bleistein Jr., Gwen Boyer, Matt Briette, Dana Briette, Liberty Briette, Faith Bucks, Christy Klinger, Gregory Klinger, Jacqueline Cluck, Dale Coleman, Carrie DeMichael, Serena Dunmoyer, Todd Dunmoyer, Zachary Dunmoyer, William McGrath III, Tom Ferrari, Harry Fees, Ian Firestein, Robert Firestein, Lindsay Firestein, Pat Garris, Maureen Gallo, Christy Jensler, Sean Gerhard Kreiser, Elizabeth Judd, Dorothy Keller, Candace Curran Hall, Bill Kuhn, Casey Long, Anthony Magaro, Paul Matters Jr., Tannen Miller, Larry Minnick, Joya Morrissey, Tom Morrissey Jr., Michael David Muma, Ray Andruzak, Sandra Pavaglio, John Pello, Jane Caroli, Dawn Rozanovich, Castanino Scaros, Jim Schaefer, Paul Schmidt, Eric Zobko, Christine Thomas, Sally Thompson, Eric Walter, Michelle Whitman, Steve Michael Wolf, and Brian Ziegler.
Okay. Thank you. I think if you maybe look at history, you see that both Lincoln and our President, both Reagan, both raised taxes. So I mean, your quotes are very
consideration to look at something different, look at other options maybe.
Well,
I don't think anybody's
let me just-
arguing with some of the things that need to be
Well, what are the,
addressed.
in your particular case, as a public official and as a department head in our courthouse, your first budget, you raised from the general fund 110%, and I think it's a little hypocritical of you to be here today calling us out when you have not come to us with either a number that you think the taxes should be raised or a solution, what should be cut. And I'm not finished.
Okay.
You had your time to read yours, and now it's our time to respond.
Yeah.
But I think it's, for your department, for example, to look at maybe going to part-time help so that we wouldn't have to pay health benefits. Of course, we wouldn't want to suffer any loss of productivity because we still have to provide for our constituents. Or if you have vacancies coming open, that you wouldn't replace them. These are the kinds of things where we are that would have to be done, and you've not come forward with any of those just to, proclaim that you don't like it. Well, none of us wanted to vote for a tax increase. This is our sixth budget that we would not have had one, and it was 8 years before the last one. So, that on top of, they had inflation referenced in your original letter, that it's stagnating when in fact it's probably a 40-year high in terms of inflation. So for the county, it costs us more for our gas, for our sheriffs, and for our response teams. It costs more for our lights, electrical, all the things that cost money for everyone else cost money for us. So the only two solutions are to either reduce cost or increase revenue. And anyone that knows this board and Jamie and the whole team here would know that we've looked at every place that we can to be as as conservative as we can in providing good service to our constituents. Because if you look at the things that we fund, would you defund the jail? You can't do that. Stop paying for the court system. Stop answering the 911 calls. I mean, these are all things that we could do, but you wouldn't do them because we are responsible people. And I think it's just disingenuous for people that none of those folks that have signed on to that have approached me with either a number that would be satisfactory to raise the taxes or a solution to what should be cut to get down to a balanced budget, which is also vital to a responsible Republican government. So, anyone else want to respond to the letter? I mean, I'm shocked at it, but go ahead. Bill or Joellen?
I don't think it was addressed to me, so I prefer not to respond.
Okay.
I'd
I'd like to ask if Bill would like to respond. Bill, anything?
Are you there, Bill? He told me he had a good signal, but
He's a little under
I
the
did have
weather.
a conversation with Bill. He pretty much said the same thing that you did, so I would assume he would say the same thing.
Well, let's not assume that. Let's see if we can get him back so he can
Okay.
hear.
I don't know when that happened. It's hard to know. I heard it.
That's all right.
Hello, sorry about that.
Bill, I just finished responding to the letter in some detail. I've more to offer, but I wanted to open it up to see if Commissioner Litz or you wanted to say anything in response to it. It's, calling us out for our budget as we have it presented to the public.
Well, I would defer to Commissioner Litz if she cares to comment, but I do when she's finished.
She has declined to comment because the letter was addressed to us.
Okay, all right. Well, I just think it's unfortunate that they chose to speak up on us. Rather than reach out, and I reached out to both Dawn and and Bill Doherty, saying that I think it was unfortunate that they didn't want to sit down with us and talk about this ahead of time. They'd rather have the big headline splash and make the big event here at the meeting and the media play. So I'm not sure that that's the best way to accomplish what's best for Lebanon County. And I realize that I haven't always been on the money, spot on for what people think we need to do in Lebanon County, but I think we've this Board of Commissioners has done a good job of managing, and to compare us to Dauphin County is very unfair. And of course, all the important things were left out there. The literally millions of dollars that Dauphin County gets from Hollywood Casino, and we get very little. I think it's like 180,000, and it's very restricted in how we can use it. So it's an unfair tactic, and I think we could have perhaps made much better progress if it would have been done differently. And unfortunately, I reached out to Bill Doherty, who was a signer of one of the letters, and met him for breakfast the other day, and I ended up with CoVid. So I'm in a weakened position right now, but I'm still strong, and I still think that we have a responsibility to provide for the health and safety of the residents of Lebanon County. And in reference to, the vulnerable seniors, they are the most vulnerable too when it comes to public safety and 911 services. So.
Yeah. All right, Bill. Thank you. Anything?
Excuse me. May I just make a touch on the comparison again? Bill did a bit, but Dauphin County and York County. Dauphin County, while it's accurate that they have been 15 or 14 years without a tax increase, and he mentioned the casino proceeds that I believe are used in some of the social services agencies by Dauphin County, but I think more importantly, their budget for 2022 is a $212 million general fund budget, and this is on the website. I'm not casting stones here, I mean, it's right there. They have a $212 million general fund that they are adding $26 million in cash, 13%, just to get it balanced, which they've been doing for years. However, on the horizon, they have $42 million total left in cash. So they have about this year coming and a little bit of the next year, and they're going to be facing this same problem. All counties face this same problem. We are operating agencies and departments that no one else will or can operate. If they were profitable, we wouldn't be doing them. I'll also use a Ronald Reagan quote, which is, if it's in the yellow pages, government shouldn't be doing it. You don't find jails in the yellow pages. You don't find 911 operations in the yellow pages. Those are things government must do, and they are expensive. Another comparison would be York County. They are raising their millage by 18.6% for 2022 as well, because they're facing the exact same problems.
Just to give a little clarity on the Hollywood Casino thing, the last numbers I saw were $13 million a year was going to Dauphin County and less than $200,000 to Lebanon County. So if you turn that around, we'd be good stewards also without too much trouble.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
The money that comes to Lebanon County, that doesn't come to us, does it? It goes to East Hanover Township, to the fire company?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that was my thoughts. It doesn't come to our pot, that
No, it's used to-
180,000.
It goes to East Hanover, to the Ohio Fire Company, I believe, maybe another, but my understanding and recollection is that they have a ladder truck, which is on the box card for response to the casino because of its height, and so the casino, they worked that out so that they would give some support to.
I was part of opposing that we didn't get any money. I was asking for Lebanon County to get funded, and that was my recollection. I wanted to make sure I had it accurate.
And the only other example I'd like to use is the MHID, mental health, intellectual disabilities. Those are among the most vulnerable of our society. In 2013, there was a 10% cut in that budget. And there's never been a replacement of that or an increase in the years hence. And that has all been backfilled with county general fund money. So, this isn't, magic act or good stewardship to prevent a tax increase. We go as far as we can, and then we're up against, our backs are against a wall. And if you trade public safety, and we also have a big investment in our employees in this budget to pay for their health care and a raise so that we can retain and recruit employees. So, these are all things that we consider vital to running this government. And again, I wish this was handled in a different way. I don't think it's a smiling affair that if you think it's humorous. Oh, okay. I
Being
think.
polite, that's all.
Oh, well, thank you. All right. Anything else?
I wanted to ask a question. Did York County raise taxes 32%? Just,
I don't know that offhand.
that was, so I don't have questions, but I would like to address what you said to me about the budget. I had asked, the significant portion of that increase I had asked was $22,120. I'm generating revenue by user fee, and I asked you to use that user fee to pay for that. This year so far, I distributed over $46,000 in user fees to pay for that $22,120. So I'm generating the revenue to cover what I asked to put in the budget. So
Prior to that,
I
we
am-
would have had
I'm-
46 though, right?
correct, but you
I'm sorry, Jamie,
approved
I
it.
think that's worth repeating.
It was,
Prior to
it would have
I'm
that,
asking
been
Jamie to repeat.
prior to that change, all 46,000 would have been general fund revenue.
for this year. The year before it was 43, the year before that it was 35. We've been trying to promote it. You asked to try to raise more revenue with it. We've been trying to promote it to bring that number up. But you did agree with me and approve it. That is something that we can look at. There are other areas that we could look at. I was unaware, really, that there was going to be an 18% tax increase, but we're all elected to make tough decisions. So if you want to sit down and discuss areas where I can try to counteract some of, like you were saying, with the the increase in costs with.
But you're the one bringing this
with-
letter to us. You should be bringing the solution and
well,
not asking us to.
obviously can't cover the whole
Well, I'm not asking.
amount,
No one has
but
come to say, hey,
I'm
it should be
willing to
14.
make
You're,
those options. And as soon as we had the department head meeting, I went back and I started looking at numbers to see what I could do in my office. You mentioned staff. So right now, our numbers our recording numbers are up to where when we had 6 people, and I did not ask to add another person. I am trying to handle it with who I have. Yes, I'm going to be down a person, and I'm looking to see if there is a way that I can adjust that somehow. But with the numbers that we have right now, that may be difficult,
there you go.
but.
Because cuts have already been made through the years
Right.
in staff, and so.
And I don't make a lot of these meetings because I gotta be down on the floor helping.
And I'll say further that in terms of cutting benefits and weakening the salaries by going part-time with folks, it goes against all the recruitment and retention efforts that we've been trying to do. And also, you're putting it all on the backs of the non-bargaining people. Half of our employees are in bargaining units. We have 6 unions that we deal with that would not be involved in voluntary cuts cuts that we would impose. And so that's another factor that, is this fair to the half of our employees to take it all out on them because people want to raise issues of no tax increase. And life is not that simple. Peel back some of these layers and you'll find that a lot of it is going to reflect on the service that we provide. And if we have to have fewer caseworkers going to these vulnerable families that are out there, I mean, there's all sorts of ripples to issues of cutting any further than we have already in the past.
So I know some of these things have been looked at and have been planned for years now. You've been planning to get to a certain point. But were there other options that you were looking at, or was the plan the whole time to raise taxes? And then maybe not all in one lump sum?
Well, you know, we talked, actually, last year would have been a year that we would have considered necessary to raise. We limped along one more year, but because of COVID, we didn't want to impose on top of the uncertainty of all that and in the middle of that. And that's what bought us, or got us another year. But no, it's inevitable that as prices go up for things and as needs present and funding from the state and federal that are mandated is either flat or declining, there's only one place. We're at the end of the food chain, and that's you know, why we have to be responsible in putting together our budget. So none of us, we despise raising taxes. So to think that this is something that the three of us, you know, say, let's inflict a little pain this year, that's why it's a little, I feel, disingenuous not to have people coming that sign such a letter and not tell us what's an acceptable amount of tax increase and what we would cut to balance it, because we've done all that, and this is where we are.
Yeah, one other comment, you reminded me when you said federal dollars. The federal funds that have come to the county, without question, are significant, $26 million. 18 million of which we are able to fold into the project for the 911 center and the new radio system for dispatch and so on, because they are eligible expenses. We cannot just take federal funds through ARPA and plow it into the general fund to offset a general fund deficit. There are very, very specific strings attached to that funding that can't just be poured into the general fund. And even if there were, even if there weren't, excuse me, and we put it into the general fund for 2022, what would we do in 2023?
Yeah, that's a one-year cure, and then that money's totally gone for purposes that we may have been able to use it for capital needs or for workforce development, all those other things that it was intended to be used for. But it does buy you 1 year, and then we're right back here again, and you know, sitting in front of people that are unhappy with the tax increase, which includes us. So, all right. Yes.
Dawn, the signatories on the letter, does that represent the entirety of the Republican?
No, it's 65 members of the Republican committee.
And how many?
180 would be the total pool. I don't know how many are.
So
there.
how many
There's
have
some
signed this
open
letter?
seats, 65.
65 of 100, so
Yes.
1/3 essentially of the, you know,
Yeah, I don't know
of
how
the
many open
committee.
seats there are, but there's 180 positions.
Are they all filled?
That's
They're
what I
not.
s- No, I said
There's
there's some
some
open
open
seats.
spots.
Oh,
But it's less than half of the committee?
Right.
Of the existing committee? So are we to assume, was this proposal or this letter presented to everybody and these
It
are just the
was.
people that signed?
It was. There were some people that took their names off because they were asked to. Many people that said that they agreed, but didn't feel right putting their name on for whatever reason, several reasons, many different reasons.
And we know that
I would say the majority agree that, you know, but their name's not here, so I
Okay.
can't.
And we know that a lot of this tax increase is also because of the new DES center and 911 center. I mean,
4% of it.
4%
Of the 18.
of the 18. I mean, would you be, you're not necessarily saying, well, don't build the 911 center or anything like that.
I know that there's issues with DES that need to be taken care of and addressed, yes. So I know they've been planning for this for a while now, and I thought there was a plan to pay for it other than raising taxes. But
That would have been a simple phone call, but.
Yeah, I'd like to heard that plan.
Thank you.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.